On May 28, 1944, Sondra Locke was born Sandra Louise Smith in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Locke was raised in a modest Southern household. She showed an innate gift for performing and creativity at an early age. Even though they were frequently difficult, her early years in Tennessee gave her the fortitude and independence that would later characterize her professional and personal struggles in Hollywood. Locke's foray into the motion picture business was audacious and disastrous. She won a national talent hunt in 1967 to play Mick Kelly in the movie adaptation of The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, a famous novel by Carson McCullers. She became well-known right once because to this breakthrough performance, which earned her a Golden Globe nomination and an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Her portrayal was hailed by critics for being natural and emotionally unvarnished, capturing the depth and sensitivity of a little girl looking for love and acceptance. Locke appeared poised for a lengthy and illustrious career in film at the young age of 23. In addition to her own acting prowess, Locke gained widespread recognition in the 1970s and 1980s for her personal and professional connections to actor-director Clint Eastwood. The two quickly started a relationship that lasted more than 10 years after meeting in 1975 while working on The Outlaw Josey Wales. Locke made appearances in a number of Eastwood productions at this time, such as Sudden Impact, 1983, Every Which Way But Loose, 1978, The Gauntlet, 1977, and Any Which Way You Can, 1980. She was able to demonstrate her flexibility by portraying a range of characters, including strong-willed heroines and weak ladies in unusual situations. Although some critics believe that Locke's collaboration with Eastwood overshadowed her individuality as an actor, her performances gave each part complexity and depth, guaranteeing that she would always be a remarkable presence on screen. Locke's gorgeous Hollywood persona belied the complexity of her life behind the camera. Despite being long-lasting, her relationship with Eastwood was not without its challenges. After the breakup in the late 1980s, Locke had to overcome significant personal and professional challenges. She described experiencing emotional distress and career sabotage in her 1997 memoir, The Good, the Bad, and the Very Ugly, which vividly depicted the difficulties women in Hollywood experienced at the time. Notwithstanding the hardship, Locke displayed incredible bravery by defending herself and bringing legal action that raised awareness of gender discrimination, power abuse, and women's fight for autonomy in a male-dominated field. Locke demonstrated that her skills went well beyond the screen by pursuing directing in addition to performing. She directed movies including the criminal thriller Impulse, 1990, starring Teresa Russell, and Rat Boy, 1986, which was praised by critics for its uniqueness. Despite having a brief career as a director, Locke made a substantial contribution. She paved the way for future female directors by being one of the few female directors in Hollywood at the time. Her work showed that she was determined to break the rules of mainstream filmmaking and portray stories from her own point of view. Health issues also plagued Locke's life. She suffered a recurrence of breast cancer after battling it in the 1990s. But these difficulties did not break her spirit. Until her last years, she remained a strong-willed, articulate, and bright person. She was admired and respected by those who knew her personally because of her humorous, profoundly intellectual, and unafraid to voice her opinions, according to friends. The historic First Presbyterian Church in Nashville, Tennessee, where Sondra Locke married sculptor Gordon Lee Anderson on September 25, 1967, is renowned for its exquisite architecture and cozy setting, which gave their nuptials a timeless elegance. Dr. Walter Rowe Courtney presided the ceremony, and his presence gave the ceremonies a formal and dignified tone that emphasized the marriage's seriousness and profound personal significance. This wedding was noteworthy since it happened only a week after Locke started principal photography on The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, her breakthrough movie, signifying a turning point in her life where significant career advancements and personal achievements came together in a breathtaking manner. A monument to their steadfast dedication, mutual respect, and strong emotional link in a field where long-lasting marriages are infamously uncommon. Locke and Anderson's marriage would last for more than half a century, an incredible 51 years until her death in 2018. But Locke and Anderson's romance had started long before they were married. She had known him at least since the late 1950s. Their relationship is said to have grown over a number of years, during which time they developed a close friendship that eventually turned into a romantic relationship. The exact date of their first meeting varies from source to source, sometimes by as much as 4 years, highlighting the fact that Locke had been surrounded by encouraging and imaginative individuals early in life who would help mold her course. Locke and Anderson made the crucial choice to leave Tennessee in 1968 as a result of her growing renown and the influx of screenplay offers that came in the midst of Oscar excitement for her role in The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. They relocated to a chic condominium at the Andalusia in West Hollywood, a location known for drawing actors, artists, and other creatives, in search of both a fresh chapter in their personal lives and professional opportunities. In addition to putting Locke in the center of the entertainment world, this move gave the pair a contemporary urban lifestyle where Locke could focus on her developing film career and Anderson could continue working as a sculptor. In West Hollywood, their life together evolved into a fusion of professional aspirations and personal intimacy, enabling them to thrive professionally while maintaining a close bond as partners. In addition to his famed roles in action and Western movies and his stoic manner, Clint Eastwood is a legendary actor and director who had a significant impact on Sondra Locke's personal life. Locke does not hesitate to give readers a very intimate look into her decades-long friendship with Eastwood in her memoir, exposing layers of both anguish and admiration. Her honest and well-punctuated words are both a revelation and a testimonial, allowing readers to see the private world beneath Hollywood's glitzy exterior. The tone of awe and vastness is established right away by Locke's depiction of Eastwood. She writes that he was enormous, which goes beyond the obvious meaning of his size. In her autobiography, Locke describes how Eastwood's presence took up a space, his demeanor as strong and intimidating as his physique. She remembers being both excited and intimidated when she sat across from him in the early days of their relationship. She points out that his magnetism was unstoppable, attracting people, demanding attention, and generating an aura that few could avoid. She acknowledges that it wasn't only his height or his demeanor, something more profound, a power that seems to distort the air itself about him. Whether you wanted to be in command or not, you knew he was. Readers can feel what it was like to be in the orbit of someone whose influence seemed to go well beyond normal bounds thanks to Locke's observations. Her memoir, however, goes beyond simply focusing on Eastwood's extravagant lifestyle. Intimate human aspects of Locke are also revealed, offering a unique window into his private life, which frequently ran counter to his public persona. In contrast to his rough, austere exterior in movies like Dirty Harry and The Good, she recounts moments of kindness, vulnerability, and even laughter, the ugly and the bad. Locke remembers that he had an unusually tender side that seemed nearly hidden and only shared with those closest to him. However, those were brief, wonderful moments, like glimmers of sunlight during a storm. According to Locke, this harmony between strength and vulnerability is what made Eastwood both intriguing and annoying, generating conflict as well as love in a long-term partnership. The difficulties and challenges of dating a man of Eastwood's quality are also covered in Locke's memoir. She openly considers how his ego, celebrity, and hectic schedule impacted their relationship. She writes, "Being with Clint was like holding lightning in your hands. At the same time, there was danger, intensity, and brightness. It was impossible to predict when you would be hoisted or knocked down." Intimacy with someone whose life seemed to be constantly scrutinized presents both obstacles and excitement, as Locke illustrates in these comments. She creates a picture that is passionate, complex, and terribly honest by sharing the emotional upheaval, miscommunications, and intimate moments. Locke exhibits a great capacity to analyze her own emotions and reactions throughout her story, presenting a complex picture of a relationship that was anything from straightforward. As she recognizes her own part in the dynamic, her thoughts on Eastwood are laced with self-awareness. She admits, "Yes, I was drawn to him, but I also knew I was entering a world where I might be overshadowed, where my own voice might be lost." This openness paints a picture of a love that was both complex and intense, enabling readers to comprehend the psychological and emotional elements at work. Sondra Locke's autobiography demonstrates the attraction and difficulties of dating a man as enormous as Clint Eastwood, both literally and symbolically. Her writings offer readers an unbiased glimpse into the truths behind Hollywood legend by capturing the beauty, turmoil, power, and magnetism of their love. Locke captures both the magnitude of Eastwood's presence and the significant influence he had on her life with lines like, "He was massive," an influence that would influence her for years to come on an emotional, professional, and personal level. In every way, her autobiography is a daring, eye-opening, and fascinating examination of love, celebrity, and the difficulties of coexisting with one of the most recognizable characters in movies. Sondra Locke died on November 3, 2018, at the age of 74, at her home in Los Angeles, California, where she had dedicated a significant portion of her adult life to advancing her professional and personal interests. According to medical sources, her death was caused by cardiac arrest, which was linked to problems from breast and bone cancer, which she had been battling in private for a while. Locke's death signaled the end of an extraordinary life that had been much praised and closely examined, especially because of her well-known Hollywood profession and her extremely private relationship and health issues. Locke passed away, and on November 9, 2018, her remains were cremated at the Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Park and Mortuary in Los Angeles, which has a long history of serving the entertainment industry and is the final resting place of many Hollywood superstars. Her decision to be cremated demonstrated a personal and private attitude to her last plans, which was in line with Locke's lifelong valuing of privacy despite her public persona. Her widower, Gordon Lee Anderson, who had been her loyal spouse for more than 50 years, was given her remains following the cremation. Despite the turmoil that had marked other parts of her life, this gesture demonstrated the stability and depth of Locke and Anderson's relationship, underscoring their ongoing link. The fact that Locke left Anderson an estimated $20 million in addition to her remains shows not only how successful she was financially, but also how committed she was to helping the man she loved. Locke seemed to be Anderson's constant source of financial and emotional support during their marriage, which demonstrated her devotion, generosity, and pragmatic commitment to making sure her closest family members were taken care of. Her excellent acting and directing career, together with her astute financial management over the years, were the main reasons she was able to accumulate such a wealth. She showed a side of Locke that was intensely private, responsible, and unwaveringly devoted to people she loved, and even in her latter years, she was determined to provide for Anderson in a way that would honor the partnership they had shared for more than 50 years. Ultimately, Sondra Locke's passing, cremation, and bequest are symbols of her enduring ideals, privacy, loyalty, and concern for her loved ones, in addition to marking the end of her life. Even in her last choices, Locke's life story, which was filled with artistic success, personal hardship, and complicated relationships, was interspersed with kindness and consideration that made a deep impression on her loved ones, friends, and the world that had long appreciated her work.